What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Weekly GCap, the only source you'll ever need to catch up on all the gaming news from the last week. And as always, if there's only a few stories that you're interested in, feel free to use the chapters labeled down in the description as well as on the time bar on the video. If you just scroll through, they should show up there. First things first, let's go ahead and go over all the major game releases from the last week. So on November 1st, we had Albatross and Pharmagia. On Halloween, aka October 31st, we had Dragon Age the Veilguard, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, Raiden Nova, Redacted, Shadows of the Damned, Hella Remastered, Slime 3K, Rise Against Despot, which this is a game that is leaving early access. I said Despot, is that Despot, Despot, whatever it is. Totally Spies, Cyber Mission. Then on October 30th, we had Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, which is a phone game. It's a lot of fun, by the way, highly recommend it. Vampire Hunters, this is leaving early access. October 29th, we had Clock Tower Rewind, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Post Trauma, and Red Dead Redemption for PC. Finally. And then on October 28th, we had Real Fishing Days of Summer. Next up, two games are free on Epic Games, those being Witchit and Ghostwire Tokyo. These will be free until November 7th at 11 AM EST, so you might as well redeem them because there's no better price than free. Next up, we got the November PS Plus Essential Games for you guys, those being Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, Turbocharged, Ghostwire Tokyo, and Death Note Killer Within. This mainly being a multiplayer game, but it looks pretty interesting, so you might want to try it out. These will be available November 5th. Next up, some new games were added to Nintendo Switch Online, and man, they are perfect for spooky season. So, this is coming from Nintendo of America on X. Quote, Shadow Man and Turok 2 Seeds of Evil are playable as part of the N64 Nintendo Switch Online Mature 17 Plus collection of games available to Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack members. End quote. Talk about a mouthful, and that's even considering the fact that I abbreviated Nintendo 64 to N64. But anyway, those are two classic games right there. Shadow Man being a bit of a hidden gem, if I do say so myself. Not enough people talk about that one, but then Turok 2. Everybody knows how great Turok is, but definitely give these games a shot. Next up, the Croc Legend of the Gobbos Remastered trailer finally released. I promised y'all we'd cover this as soon as we got more info, and here we are. I always follow up on my promises. They put up a trailer and the description reads, quote, and so the adventure begins again. Join Croc as he embarks on a journey to rescue the Gobbos from the villainous Baron Dante, now in stunning HD with updated graphics, modern analog controls with an enhanced camera, visual effects. The classic 3D platformer leaps from the 1990s into the present day. Croc is better and cuter than ever. Whether you're a longtime fan reliving the nostalgia of your gaming childhood or you're discovering it for the very first time, the Croc Remaster promises fun for all ages. Are you ready to save the Gobbos? Let's go, Yazoo! Then they confirmed the platforms being PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, GOG.com, and unfortunately that's it. So if you play on Steam, sorry, I guess you're not gonna get it there, but if I'm gonna be honest, between the two platforms, I don't ever spend money on Steam. I only feel comfortable spending actual money on GOG, just because there you actually own your games, but on Steam, yeah, that could be yanked away from you at any time. Anyway, there's no official release date, it just says coming soon, so as soon as we get an actual release date, I guess we'll follow up on this for a third time, so then I can tell you guys that. Next up, the platforms for Yooka-Replaylee was confirmed. So for those that don't know, Yooka-Replaylee is the remaster slash remake of Yooka-Laylee. So they put up a trailer and the description reads, quote, yes, Yooka-Replaylee is coming to consoles. Peek the new gameplay trailer to celebrate, which you're seeing on your screen right now. Yooka-Replaylee is the remastered slash remade gorgeous definitive version of Yooka-Laylee, a 3D platforming love letter to 3D platformers of old. Join dynamic duo Yooka and Laylee as they venture out across beautiful varied worlds in a bid to put an end to Capital B's nasty plan. With improved graphics, more dynamic worlds, new and improved challenges, new collectibles, new characters, a whole host of quality of life improvements, and more to discover. The game will be coming to Xbox Series X, S, PS5, and Nintendo. Which that is interesting. They don't say Nintendo Switch, they just say Nintendo. You guys know me, I'm not a Switch 2 speculator. I hate those YouTube channels, if I'm gonna be honest. I always click don't recommend channel as soon as I see that nonsense. Nintendo will announce the console when they're ready to announce it. But anyway, like I said, it just says Nintendo, so I can only assume that that's referring to their next platform when it releases. And they also say it'll be coming to PC, so it'll be on all of the modern consoles and soon-to-be modern consoles. Next up, we have another one. This is like the third one in a row, and I believe there's actually more later up on the show that we talked about previously previously, and I'm now covering again for, you know, whatever time this is that I'm talking about said thing. But anyway, The Thing Remastered trailer was released. Again, we talked about this a few months ago when it was announced, but now we finally have a trailer and some more information. So the description reads, quote, "This remaster of the 2002 canon sequel to John Carpenter's 1982 horror classic The Thing features some of Night Dive's most impressive visual upgrades to date. In addition to improved models, textures, environments, new dynamic lighting, and 4K resolution at 144 FPS, we worked with the original dev team on an assortment of gameplay improvements. Notably, the advanced fear/trust interface, where your influence on your team's psychological state directly impacts whether or not they cooperate with you. Are you brave enough to join Captain J.F. Blake and his team as they investigate the chilling events that transpired at Outpost 31? Find out when The Thing Remastered releases on PC and consoles later this year." And they have the specific platforms labeled at the end of the trailer, which are PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, the Humble Store, Steam, and GOG, end quote. So there it is. We got some more information about The Thing, and as I promised many months ago when we first covered it, I delivered. Next up, yet another thing we talked about months ago, and here I am covering it again. So, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete was announced. This coming from Gobbos, quote, "Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete will launch for iOS via App Store and Android via Google Play on December 3rd, Nintendo announced. It will be available at an introductory price of $9.99 until January 31st of 2025, after which the price will change to $19.99. As previously announced, the free-to-play service-based game Animal Crossing Pocket Camp will end shutdown on November 29th. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete will be an offline paid version of the game without any additional in-game purchases, featuring items and events that were released over the course of the game's 7-year run, end quote. So, it's pretty crazy to think that it's been 7 years since Pocket Camp released, and it had a great run. I had a lot of fun playing the game, but now that a paid version of the game is going to exist, I would say that this is definitely, I mean, obviously it's going to be the definitive version of the game to own, but also just considering that there's no microtransactions involved means this is finally like an official Animal Crossing game, not just like a live service one. This is just like a complete game that you can purchase and play, and it's just there, and that's awesome. Next up, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's oh my gosh, this is a mouthful. Give me a chance here. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind release date was announced. This is coming from digitaleclipse.com, quote, "Coming December 10th, 2024. Experience the origins of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers again for the first time. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind." Gosh, is an all new adventure with an original storyline that both respects and remixes Power Rangers lore with scenarios and gameplay that will be both familiar and new to MMPR fans. Man, I like that abbreviation a lot more, just MMPR. Players will brawl, blast, fight, and drive through a constantly shifting mix of classic game genres and fan-favorite moments from the series. Available to pre-order now on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. I have been heavily anticipating this game since it was first announced a couple of months ago, which, again, this is another game that we had talked about where I was like, hey, this will be coming at some point. We don't have a date yet, but now we have it. Here's the release date, and man, December 10th cannot come soon enough. I have a lot of nostalgia and love for Power Rangers, and this game's gonna be great. Next up, the release date in the West for Ys Memoire, The Oath and Felghana was announced. So this coming from Gamatsu, quote, "Ys Memoire, The Oath and Felghana will launch for PS4, PS5, and Switch on January 7th, 2025 in North America and Europe, publishers Xseed Games and Marvelous Europe announced. Ys Memoire, The Oath and Felghana first launched for Switch on April 27th, 2023 in Japan, followed by PS5 and PS4 in May of 2024. As previously announced, a limited physical refined edition will be available for PS5 and Switch for $59.99. It includes a copy of the game, 14-song soundtrack CD, an acrylic diorama/keychain set, a set of 4 postcards with art from the game, and a graphic cleaner cloth. End quote. So for those that don't know, Ys, so this is a remake of a remake kinda. So Ys, The Oath and Felghana was a remake of Ys 3, The Wanderers from Ys, and now Ys Memoire, The Oath and Felghana is like a remake of that remake. So it's like a remake of a remake, but definitely a great game, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Next up, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition was announced. So right now the store page and pre-orders are live, and the description reads, quote, "Rebuild humanity on the mysterious planet Mira and this action RPG." It then goes on to give like a little brief synopsis about the story, but I won't read it just in case you want to avoid spoilers, so I'll just skip to the bottom where it says, "The visually enhanced edition of this open world RPG contains newly added story elements and more." So if, like me, you've played the Wii U version of this game and absolutely loved it, well, now we're gonna have even more content to play through and fall in love with. They also go on to say that the Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition game is coming to the Nintendo Switch system on March 20th, 2025. So It's a little over, what's that, like 4.5 months out, so it's a little bit away, but man, I can't wait. This is one of the last few remaining games that were still exclusive to the Wii U. There's still a few games that are exclusive to the Wii U, but this is one of the big ones, and I'm glad it's finally making its way to Switch so that more people can play, because man, Xenoblade Chronicles X is a fantastic game. Next up, a Mac port for Cyberpunk 2077 was announced. Now, this is just kind of interesting because if you're an old head like me, you remember back in the day, Macs were not exactly the best place to play video games. In fact, even when it came to the most recent Call of Duties, they'd be, well, they'd get there like a whole year, if not more later. But now we're at a point where Cyberpunk 2077, sure, it's a bit late to the platform, but it's going to be available on Mac. Anyway, this coming from Cyberpunk.net, quote, Cyberpunk 2077 and its spy thriller expansion Phantom Liberty will be coming to Mac. Taking full advantage of Apple Silicon and advanced technologies of metal, the world of the dark future is available to Mac gamers for the very first time. Players can enjoy advanced features like path tracing, frame generation, and built-in spatial audio for even more immersive gameplay and stunning visuals. Available early next year on Macs with Apple Silicon, the Ultimate Edition will launch on the Mac App Store, GOG.com, Steam, and Epic Game Store. More details, including a release date for early next year, will be revealed at a later time, so make sure to stay tuned. End quote. So there it is. They can announce it, but they can't announce the release date apparently. But hey, it's coming. Next up, Nintendo Music was announced. So this coming from Nintendo.com, quote, kick back and enjoy some Nintendo tunes with Nintendo Music, this exclusive smart device app for Nintendo Switch Online members that lets you stream or download Nintendo soundtracks, create and share playlists, browse music by different categories, and more. Open up Nintendo's Vault of Game Music and listen to soundtracks from franchises like The Legend of Zelda, Mario, and Animal Crossing, with many more on the way. Recommendations just for you, browse through ready-made playlists or get recommendations based on your Nintendo Switch play history, hide spoilers, haven't finished the game yet? No problem. You can choose to hide soundtracks that might give away the big ending or surprise boss, keep the party going, extend some of your favorite tracks for up to 60 minutes seamlessly, or loop them, end quote. And this is available now, so if you have a Nintendo Switch online account, you can just sign up for it, and you don't need to have like the expansion pack or anything. As long as you're just like a basic NSO member paying $20 a year, you'll have access to this. And yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to download the app yet, but I am an NSO member, obviously, NSO plus expansion pack. I need that N64 and GBA ready to go on my Switch at all times, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm definitely going to download this and give it a shot, because this is so cool, and it'll probably end up being my most used music app at this point. Fun fact about me, I don't actually listen to music nowadays. The only time I listen to music is when it's playing in a video game or an anime or something like that, or if I'm listening to a video game OST, like Stickerbush Symphony, for example. I'll just turn that on and listen to that, but I don't ever actually listen to just like normal music anymore. Next up, just to make everybody feel really old real quick, GTA San Andreas has officially celebrated its 20th anniversary. It released October 26th, 2024. And what makes me feel old is the fact that there's gonna be young kids watching this video that look at that and say, wow, that game is old. And then I look in the mirror and realize I'm even older than this game. I feel old. Next up, Black Ops 6 has officially become the biggest launch in Call of Duty history. This coming from Call of Duty on X, quote, thank you hashtag Call of Duty community for making the launch of hashtag Black Ops 6 one for the record books, setting new day one and opening weekend records. And below that they have an image that says thank you. Together you made Black Ops 6 the biggest Call of Duty 3-day opening weekend ever, #1 total players, #1 hours played, and #1 total matches. End quote. So that is just absolutely insane, man. Call of Duty, obviously it's been around for over 20 years at this point, and I mean Black Ops 6, 20 years, over 20 years after the series started, dozens of entries in the series. Just now, they have the biggest launch in series history. That is insane. I've been playing Call of Duty Black Ops 6 a ton. For those that don't know, I am a huge Call of Duty fan. I've been playing the game since Finest Hour back on the PlayStation 2, and I've gone on to purchase and pre-order the games every single year. I play the games like crazy, whether we're talking the campaigns, the zombie modes, the multiplayers. I always hit Prestige Master in the multiplayer, get all the Mastery camos. My favorite Call of Duty of all time is still Black Ops 2, the one from 2012, and yeah, man, I seriously love Call of Duty. It is one of my favorite game franchises of all time. I'm constantly playing it. And man, yeah, Black Ops 6 has knocked it out of the park, right? Like, I've said this on my main channel many times, which my main channel is Grotesque, for those that don't know, if you want to ever go check that out. I make a lot of Call of Duty content over there, but it's an even split as to the reasons of why I purchase and play Call of Duty. 33% is because of the campaign, the other 33 is because of the multiplayer, and the other 33 is because of the zombies. I know there's a bit of mismatch with the percentages, because that only equals 99%, but you can do the adding up with the extra 0.3% and such. But yeah, this year Black Ops 6 really nailed it out of the park in all three aspects. It is an absolutely fantastic game, and if you've been on the fence about it for one reason or another, it is available both on Xbox Game Pass as well as PC Game Pass, so that's a way to get the game there and play it, or you can just, buy it outright, and I would highly recommend, no matter how you manage to play the game, just make sure you play, because this game is genuinely just amazing. And finally, Concord developer Firewalk has shut down. This coming from SonyInteractive.com. Quote, regarding Firewalk, as announced in early September, certain aspects of Concord were exceptional, but others did not land with enough players, and as a result, we took the game offline. We have spent considerable time these past few months exploring all our options. After much thought, we have determined the best path forward is to permanently sunset the game and close the studio. I want to thank all of Firewalk for their craftsmanship, creative spirit, and dedication. We will take the lessons learned from Concord and continue to advance our live service capabilities to deliver future growth in this area. Firewalk were home to many talented individuals, and we will work to find placement for some of those impacted within our global community of studios where possible. End quote. So, this is very unfortunate because it's clear that there was a lot of talent there at Firewalk. Say what you will about Concord and the genre of the game, that being an FPS hero shooter, where there is probably hundreds out there of those at this point, but despite that, it was still a very technically sound game with a rather strong direction. It had its own identity with its own cast of characters, and again, it wasn't like the game was a buggy mess or anything. It was just a situation of, hey, like mom says, we have Overwatch at home, and then people would point to Concord, you know what I mean? Like, Overwatch 2 is a free-to-play game, you got other free-to-play hero shooters out there like Paladin, as well as Marvel Rivals, which was absolutely huge and I'm sure is still doing well. So this game just really struggled out of the gate to find its own audience. That being said, I was hoping that there was a path forward for Firewalk, because again, it's clear that there was still at least some talented developers there. Like, they knew what they were doing, they knew how to make a technically sound game. It's unfortunate, definitely a wrong place, wrong time type of situation. If this game released back in 2016, I could have seen it being a very worthy rival to Overwatch, but it's 2024. We have Overwatch 2 as well as hundreds of other hero shooters at this point, so it's really unfortunate. I send my regards to all of the developers at Firewalk, because regardless of how you feel about the game, no person deserves to be just, laid off or have their studio shut down. Even if you didn't like the game, just morally speaking, you shouldn't wish that upon a person. I mean, if they did something absolutely terrible, then sure, but it's not like they even did anything absolutely terrible. They started developing this game 8 years ago in 2016 when this would have made sense to release it. It just took them a really long time and a whole lot of money to do it, so it's unfortunate. Again, I send my regards to everybody there at the team. Hopefully, they're able to get relocated inside of Sony, as they were saying inside of this article or this blog post. But obviously, there's gonna be some redundancies, and there's always gonna be some people that are gonna be let go after something like this. But again, they were clearly really talented, so hopefully they can find work elsewhere and go on to, work on other projects that can hopefully find greater success in the future. But anyways, that is all the stories that I have for you guys this week, so now I'm gonna get out of here. If you want to catch the new episodes of WGC as soon as they go live every single Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. I'd love to have you here. But anyway, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day and an amazing weekend. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.